just my view, bro. They've established something and they built something, right? They got something of not just interest, but influence, politics in there. You gotta have it too, bro. It's a new wave that is here. Caitlin Clark gonna be a lot more smarter. She's gonna have a lot more to say. She's gonna have a lot more to, you feel me?
What happens when two of the biggest names in women's basketball are called out by an NBA legend in real time without editing and on the record? As Kevin Garnett's Mr. Anything is Possible himself went off course and off the rails last night, releasing the kind of jaw-dropping bombshells that have every fan, critic, and even some players reeling, the sports world exploded. Viewers were astonished not only by his statements, but also by who he named, what he disclosed. And the timing, the WNBA season was the most exciting in years, in what is already being referred to as the hottest take of the decade. Garnett unleashed a torrent of tough love, unvarnished truth, and unadulterated hype in addition to praising rookie wonder Caitlin Clark. However, it wasn't all love and roses for everyone. Garnett was directly targeting two of the league's most influential and divisive figures, Angel Reese and Diana Taurasi. Was that old-fashioned trash talk or harsh reality? Do fans have no idea what's happening behind the scenes? Significantly, did Garnett just express aloud what all of his rivals are subconsciously contemplating? Fans worldwide are taking sides. Social media is in a frenzy, and the league's top figures are responding. Is Caitlin Clark truly invincible? Or is she going to encounter her most difficult obstacle to date? Has Garnett sparked a rivalry that will alter the course of the game forever? Hold on tight, because we're going to go over exactly what Kevin Garnett said, why it matters, and how Diana Taurasi and Angel Reese are responding. This is a moment that has the potential to completely upend women's basketball. It's not simply another viral sports tale. Kevin Garnett has added fuel to the fire. If you thought the WNBA controversy was already at an all-time high, what was meant to be a casual podcast appearance was where the story began. When asked to comment on the league's new era, KG, who is renowned for stating his opinion and never holding back, began coolly by expressing admiration for the league's legends Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, etc. However, the atmosphere changed when the topic of the present stars came up. I'm going to be honest, Caitlin Clark is changing the game in ways these other girls wish they could, Garnett remarked, beaming into the camera with his signature smile. The co-hosts uneasy. Laughter and the producer's attempt to call a break were the immediate reactions, but KG continued. Do you understand me correctly, Angel Reese? A beast? She has that blaze. Diana Taurasi, OG, heartless. Clark is out there shattering records and breaking ankles, so you guys need to wake up. Some people can't stand her vying for the throne. Within seconds, social media was on fire. Before the podcast had concluded, fans began to cut the footage. For hours, KG exposing the truth was a trending topic. Garnett's implication that the old guard and even the current it girl might not be prepared for what Clark is bringing to the league made Angel Reese and Diana Taurasi the most talked about topics right away, not because of their highlight clips. This is where things become even more complicated. Though, since Garnett didn't stop there, he intensified Angel. Although she has a lot of swag, there are moments when she talks more than she walks. Have to do something new every night if you want to be the league's face. What about Taurasi? She is a murderer, but with the game changing so quickly, how long can you survive on your reputation? Really, nobody in the media, the WNBA or the NBA makes that claim about Taurasi. She is legendary. She has outlived whole periods. However, KG didn't flinch. He declared this isn't the league of 5 years ago. You guys need to step up or get stepped over because there's a new queen in town. Let the mayhem begin. The fans were divided. Garnett was merely praising the new rookie like everyone else, according to some. Others claimed that he went too far in denigrating the trailblazing women who continue to hold the highest positions of power. Almost immediately, Angel Reese responded on Twitter saying, "Let them talk. I have a job." You'll notice that there are no tags or emojis, just pure edge. Diana Taurasi, meanwhile, was seen sporting that iconic icy grin at practice. She didn't even bat an eyelid when a reporter questioned her about Garnett's remarks. "That's adorable. He talks a lot," she said. "When it's time to play, we'll see what happens." Let's not pretend, however, that this is only headline bait and Twitter beef. Because Garnett didn't appear out of nowhere with these takes. There is a true tale behind the narrative. He has been keeping a careful eye on the league. According to sources, he texts Clark following important games. He has even gone to a few Sky and Mercury fights, sometimes covertly and other times courtside. Behind the scenes, questions began to surface. Does Garnett truly see something in her that has never been seen in the league before? Or is he deliberately boosting Clark for influence? Is it simply vintage KG stirring things up for fun? Or is it all part of a grand scheme to elevate women's basketball to new heights? Clark, meanwhile, remained composed and declined to fall for the ruse. After her most recent game, reporters attempted to ensnare her in the controversy by inquiring as to if she felt under pressure or if Garnett's remarks made her a target. "I'm just here to play," Clark remarked with a simple smile and shrug. "I'm more concerned with my squad and winning games than I am with all the legends." That is the only thing that counts. Don't get me wrong, though. The league was formally on notice. Tickets for the next Clark versus Reese match sold out in a matter of hours. There was standing room only at Taurasi's subsequent post-game press conference. Everything was going crazy in the hype machine. The most important question that people were asking was whether Garnett had given Clark the secret to becoming a superstar, or if he had simply made her the object of everyone's hatred. Because Angel Reese isn't one to back away from a challenge, let's face it. No one in the history of the game has hushed more next big things than Diana Taurasi. And despite his enthusiasm, Kevin Garnett simply sparked the fuse. He doesn't play in the league. We'll discuss what transpired when the teams eventually faced off on the court, the players' reactions to the attention, and why this moment might potentially alter women's basketball forever in the sections that follow. You haven't been following basketball long enough if you assumed that Kevin Garnett's remarks would put an end to the controversy. Because Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, the upcoming Sky versus Fever game, wasn't merely a contest. If you believe the buzz, it was a confrontation, a spectacle, and the start of a new era in WNBA history. Every media platform, including TikTok and ESPN, was watching. There was a feeding frenzy during the pregame coverage. Will Angel Reese reclaim her throne tonight? Will the strain ultimately cause her to crumble, or can Clark silence the skeptics? Every voice in the room weighed in, repeatedly repeating what Garnett had said. Social media was divided into three groups. Put some respect on Taurasi, Team Angel, and Team Caitlin. The anxiety was palpable as the players took the court. With her game face locked on, Angel Reese displayed a steely intensity, ever the competitor. Clark appeared almost nonchalant until tip-off, when her fervor was evident in every cut and pass. While preparing for her own match, Taurasi was spotted watching the live broadcast with a faint smile that suggested she was just as enthralled with the spectacle as anybody else. The tone is set in the first few minutes. With threes from far beyond the arc, Clark came out firing. Each time the net broke, the audience exploded. Reese, though, she dominated the boards, blocked shots, and looked down at Clark after every basket to answer each highlight with one of her own. With the world watching and two stars with everything to prove, the matchup was intense but clean. It's like watching Magic and Bird all over again, except now it's Reese and Clark. Fighting for the soul of the league, commentators couldn't help themselves. However, that was only half the tale of the game. In real time, every play, every stare, and every fumble for the ball was analyzed online. Fans couldn't stop watching videos of Reese glaring at Clark making a logo three and teammates tearing them apart following a harsh foul. Then came the highlight reel-worthy moment in the third quarter, in a reverberation of Reese's own trademark trash talk. Clark backpedaled after hitting a deep shot over Reese. The internet went down. New fans and old heads debated. Was it respect? Was it competition? Was it outright contempt? Or was Clark simply displaying the fire Garnett claimed she possessed? Angel's response was prompt. She flexed and smirked at the fever bench after spinning past Clark for a and one on the next possession. "I got the message." Taurasi tweeted the straightforward message. "Now that's basketball." After capturing the highlight on her phone, Garnett, meanwhile, was live streaming his own play-by-play thoughts on Instagram. "That is what I am referring to," he shouted. "They're starving." The league needs this kind of energy. However, late in the fourth was the moment that will live in everyone's memory. Final minute, tie game. Reese was protecting Clark while she held the ball, when Clark drove to the left, paused abruptly, and made a fadeaway jumper. The audience fell silent. Cold-hearted, the audience went crazy. Fever by 2. However, Reese scored through traffic and the foul on the following play after crashing the boards and grabbing the offensive rebound. Good free throw, sky by 1. Reese in her face, hand up, game on the line. Clark brought it up for the last shot with seconds remaining. The shot missed the rim. With a scream that was half relief and half defiance, Reese grabbed the rebound, dribbled out the clock, and let out a primal cry. The cameras flashed. Her teammates surrounded her. Stone-faced, Clark nodded and turned to go. Not so fast was the statement. The media flocked after the game. Reese was questioned by reporters over Garnett's remarks. "People love to talk," she said without hesitation. "I'm here to have fun. Although I admire Caitlin, no one relinquishes. They're thrown easily. As cool as ever," Clark declared. "Great battle, great game. That is the purpose of this league." Taurasi even added, "The league will benefit from this. Competition, rivalries, and respect that is earned rather than granted." Garnett, meanwhile, doubled down on his podcast. "When you put greatness under strain, it either breaks or breaks records. That's what happens." Caitlin replied. "Angels stepped up. Legends are created in this way." Officially, the sports world was enamored. The duel's TikTok modifications went viral. Garnett said, "What?" and Reese versus Clark began to trend together. However, the buzzer was not the end of the drama. Players began to comment from all throughout the league. Some supported Reese, claiming that the NBA Voices' disdain had reached a breaking point. Others commended Clark's talent and poise. Once more, Taurasi was questioned about the new age. Her smirk reappeared as she shrugged. "Allow them to come get me. I will not be leaving." A regular season game felt like a finals matchup for the first time in years. The league's viewership soared as young fans chose favorites and traditional supporters quarreled over legacy. Kevin Garnett, the kingmaker, the catalyst, the hype man who had just given women's basketball its most boisterous plot in years, sat back and smiled the entire while. However, the season was far from finished. Would the veterans put Clark in her place, or would she continue to rise? Would Reese claim her own legacy and silence the skeptics? Was the new guard truly taking over, or would Taurasi remind everyone why she is the greatest of all time? There was no doubt that the game will never be the same again because of KG. The days that followed were anarchy if you thought the postgame was crazy. Every action, every word, every meme was debated on sports networks. ESPN aired a show titled Revolution or Rivalry. Sports podcasts were divided. Had Garnett sparked a change in leadership, or was he only stirring things up? The issue was the same everywhere. Was the league about to collapse, or had it just received its greatest boost ever? fans weren't the only ones who noticed. In private, league execs were ecstatic. For any game with Clark, Reese, or Taurasi, ticket sales soared. The TV ratings skyrocketed. All three players' merchandise orders set new records. All of a sudden, young children at nearby gyms were fighting about who was the true star. "I'm Caitlin. No angel would always block you. Put a wager. Let's check." This was a cultural phenomenon rather than just hype. By blocking out the background noise and allowing her play to speak, Clark herself maintained her concentration. The spectators became louder with each game, occasionally cheering and occasionally jeering, but always watching. She responded with highlight threes, double-doubles, and the same unwavering work ethic that had won Garnett over as a fan. However, Angel Reese was still very much in the news. She turned any glimmer of uncertainty into motivation, guiding her. Squad 2 decisive victories and allowing her deeds to dispel any skepticism. Their one dominant game. She posted, "Let them say what they want. We keep winning." Her fierceness, confidence, and ability to be there when it counted. Most were adored by her fans. In the meantime, the drama served as inspiration for Diana Taurasi, the living legend herself. "I've seen every hotshot rookie, every so-called game changer. Some stay, some fade," she told reporters. She maintained her all-star level, and when Clark and Reese faced her team, the matchups were instantly classic sold, school meets new school, with everyone waiting for that one pivotal play. The real ones leave a legacy, then seemingly at the right moment. Garnett reappeared on national television, invited to dispel the rivalry he had helped to instigate. Did he retreat? No way. "Look, the league has always needed a little edge," he remarked. Rivals like Magic versus Bird, MJ versus everyone, and LeBron versus the globe helped the men's game flourish. The women's match. The world needs to pay attention and see these legends emerge. Well done if my words stoke their interest. It is the foundation of greatness. This was no longer only a plot point. There was a movement. Celebrities, other sportsmen, and even non-basketball fans offered their opinions. NBA players' tweets, "Congratulations to all the WNBA queens," went viral. Edits, arguments, and even amicable trash talk from high school ladies who identified as Taurasi, Reese, or Clark were common on TikTok. A new generation was observing. A new age had begun. Real discussions about opportunity, advancement, and respect took place behind the scenes. Garnett established a spotlight, which players took advantage of, generating more brand deals, interviews, and enthusiasm for the women's game than anyone had seen in years. In response, the league released fresh documentaries, highlights, and even a Legends and Rising Stars event with Clark, Reese, Taurasi, and Garnett himself as special guests. However, the core of the narrative, real players, real emotion, and real competition remained constant. Clark, playing with a chip on her shoulder and getting up quickly. Reese resolved to never be forgotten. With skill, style, and experience, Taurasi holds her crown. Garnett, too? Every time a new headline appeared, he watched with a smile. He contributed to the league's next must-see chapter in addition to calling out the stars. However, one thing became evident as the season went on. Brilliance, legacy, and rivalry aren't based on headlines. They are created on the court, put to the test in crucial situations, and validated each and every night. Who would claim this moment? Then was still the question. Would Caitlin Clark finish her ascent and emerge as a symbol of a new age? Would Angel Reese lead her team to a championship and silence all of her detractors? Would Diana Taurasi demonstrate one more why legends endure? Or had Garnett been correct? All along, the game itself was the true victor, enhanced by rivalry, stoked by controversy, and unstoppable when everyone gives it their all. There is no doubt that everyone was paying attention to women's basketball. And no one was currently dozing off. The rivalry that never ends, the moment that changed women's basketball, and the luminaries who are still eager to prove themselves. are all there. Now, however, is your moment to enter the discussion. Which are you riding with? Diana Taurasi's icy expertise, Angel Reese's unbridled power and fury, or Caitlin Clark's relentless rise? Did Kevin Garnett just set off the season's most outrageous drama? Or did he just drop a bombshell? Who do you want with the ball when it matters most, and who is actually altering the game? This story is just beginning. There will always be rivalries, game-winning moments, and moments that have the potential to completely upend the league. If you love drama, hit the like button and subscribe buttons. Remember to provide your best thoughts in the comments section. Was KG correct? Who is currently the real face of women's basketball? And who would you like to watch face-to-face in the finals? Let's get this debate going by sharing this with all the Hoops fans, And enable alerts so you don't miss any of the viral calls-outs, epic highlights, or twists. You don't want to sleep on what's going to happen next, I promise. The discussion is only beginning, but this is your channel name concluding. Which side do you support? Since no one wants to miss this tale, let's discuss it below.